So, you have a date coming over tonight. You want to do something special, but you want to seem casual about it. Like, oh, it's just something I have lying around the house. Today we're going to do strawberry rhubarb scones. These are unbelievably good, as you'll be able to see, really simple to make, and you can make ahead of time. And just kind of casually pull it out during a Netflix and chill, or maybe for breakfast. We're going to start with 2 cups of self-rising flour. To that we're going to add 1 cup of Splenda, 1 teaspoon of salt, and we're going to mix that together. Like pretty much everything I do, this is nice and simple. What you need next is butter. I keep my butter in the freezer. It gives a much better lift once you start baking, having that really cold butter. And I just take my little shredder here and run the butter through it. Now you see it comes out nice, curly and everything. What you want to do is toss the flour around that butter. Get it coated and keep going. Once you have that whole stick of butter shredded and incorporated, we're going to add a little bit more just to flavor this. We're going to start with 2 tablespoons of cottage cheese. I know it sounds weird, but it's going to help keep your scones nice and moist. Make sure all that's cold that's going into this mixture. And just like the butter, we'll get it fully incorporated and covered in flour, each of those little curds. Kind of try and break them up. And now we'll add the namesake. We're going to take around a cup of strawberries. Now, your strawberries, if you leave them in the fridge for a few days, or you just happen to have some that have been sitting in there a few days, they are better because they start to dehydrate a little and they won't be as runny and all when you bake them. And we're just going to take each strawberry and slice it up. Nice and simple. We're going to add all that to our flour mixture. Kind of break them up as you go. And then we're going to take rhubarb, and this isn't quite half a cup. Chop it up nicely and just sprinkle that in. Get everything in there. And again, toss it in the flour. We want the whole thing covered up nicely. Add a teaspoon of vanilla. Get it spread around in there. You don't want clumps. And a cup of milk, but we're going to add this in stages. A little here, mix it, then add a little more. We don't want a soggy mess. It's going to be soggy enough. But we do want a dough that we can handle, form. So a little at a time keeps nice. Now don't kid yourself. it takes a lot of mixing to get the liquid incorporated into the flour. A lot of times you'll find it looks dry, but when you start putting it together, it's too wet. You know, depending on your berries for one, if your berries haven't been dehydrated a little, they're going to be wetter. So you'll need a little less milk. Now see how this is pulling together and there's very little loose flour? This is going to be just about right. With the water content of the berries and everything, I'm not going to need the rest of the milk. But I am going to need my hands. It'll kind of help keep it from sticking. Now this is wetter than most of the scone recipes that I make. And that's because of the fresh fruit and everything else in it. So we've got it together. Your hands are going to be a mess. Accept it. It doesn't bother me too much because I wash my hands 50 to 100 times a day. It's just how I am. You know, working in restaurants so long, you get so you want to wash your hands all the time. And let me give you a little hint here. When you go out to eat, especially traveling, the first thing you should always do is go to the bathroom. If the bathroom is dirty, your food is dirty. Because that bathroom is what all the people working in the restaurant use also. So if the bathroom is dirty, walk the hell out. Find a place with a clean bathroom. I'll use a baking mat a lot of the time. That way I just don't have to scrape and scrub the counter to get it clean. I can just clean the mat in the sink. I take and I spray it with some oil. Try and keep it from sticking too much to the mat itself. And then we're just going to dump out this scone mixture right onto the mat. And form it up. Get yourself a nice big circle. Not too thick because this is going to rise. And you want it to be able to fit on your pan. Yes, this is somewhere between a dough and a batter, but it comes out so nice. You can see why I say this is a good thing to do ahead of time, because it can be a little messy, but if the two of you want to do it together, getting in there and having your hands all squishy and everything, can be a lot of fun. Do yourself a favor also, go out to the dollar store or the $1.25 store or the $5 store, whatever it is going to be by the time you see this video. Get yourself a board scraper. Good for cutting dough, good for cutting scones. You can do almost anything with this, and for around $1, you can't go wrong. Now I see we had extra milk. I'm going to take a couple teaspoons of Splenda, mix that into the milk. You can use regular sugar, but why would you? Mix that around. Kind of get that Splenda dissolved in there. And then we're going to brush the top of the scone with the mixture. This will help it brown more, give it a little bit more sweetness. Almost like a glaze. If you're using a regular sugar, you'll have more of a glaze effect to it. But do you really want to put on the extra pounds if this is a date situation? No. And you can tell your date, oh, I made it healthy for you by being sugar-free. Once you have it glazed, we're just going to cut it. You don't need your scones too big. That way you could have a couple at night, a couple for breakfast, a couple for friends coming over. My oven's preheated to 350. I've actually heated my cast iron pizza pan so that it's nice and hot when I put the scones on them. I like that little extra crispness on the bottom that it gives you. You can do it in a cast iron, regular cast iron pan too if you want. But I like the pizza pans. All you gotta do is hit it with a little spray oil. And back to your scone here. We're gonna cut through a little bit and get our board scraper underneath the piece and start laying them out in a circle, same as they are on the board. You want to get them close to the edge and a little bit of space between them. They are going to rise up quite a bit and come together, and then you're going to cut them when you pull them out of the oven. Now this is going to go in that 350 oven for 35 minutes. While that's in the oven, we're going to make a topping or a dip, depending on what you would like. We're taking ricotta cheese. To that, I'm adding Truvia confectionery sugar, because I do want the sugar-free aspect. You can use regular confectionery sugar if you like. And how much you put in depends on what you're making. You can put in a lot if you want it like a cannoli filling, which would be better for topping it off. And we just stir that in. With a lot of confectionery sugar, it'll be thicker, more dense, and then you'll want to top it. If you put in just a little, then it's looser, and you can use it as a dip and just dip your scones into this. Like with everything, do it to your taste. You should always taste your food as you cook. Now we're going to take a half a cup of those strawberries and just pour it right in there. Mix those strawberries right in. Oh. You can see how quick this is. It really takes no time at all for just one incredible dessert. That's just perfect for me. Not too sweet, nice and creamy, nice and berry. I'm going to take this, put it in the refrigerator, got to keep it cool. And while that's cooling and the scones are cooking, we'll do the dishes. Our 35 minutes is up, and those scones look beautiful. Cast iron is going to hold a lot of heat, so you want to get them right off from it. This is where our board scraper comes in again. We cut through our hot scones, and we can lift them out. Look at that. Without worrying about burning our hands. Now that they've had a chance to cool, we can take our lovely scones, a dollop of sweetened ricotta and strawberries on top, and this is just delicious. It's flaky, it's tender, it's sweet. Not something to eat in bed because of the crumbs, but before or after, this is better than a strawberry rhubarb pie, I swear. It's just fantastic. And I'm sure you'll like it too. Like I said, it's one of those things that you can just pull out. You go, oh, are you feeling peckish? I just happen to have these lying around. Something I make every once in a while. You'll have to get good at it though, because once people try this, they'll want it all the time. So enjoy, like, subscribe, you know the drill. Talk to you later. Bye.